Hello everyone, Crash here, this RTA Motorsports. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be grabbing the keys to the CTS V and we're going to be reviewing the Vitesse Throttle Controller. It's going to be a good one. Hope you enjoy.
Welcome to RTA Motorsports.
Alright, so you're not going to be able to find an item like this at your local AutoZone or Napa Auto Parts or anything like that. So I'm going to show you where to pick up this Vitesse Throttle Controller, and what you're going to want to do is open up your browser and you're going to want to go to Vitesse Motorsports or Vitesse-Motorsports.com. You can see it right up there in the browser, and I'll have the link in the description so that way you can get right there. And here you're welcomed with a page, of course, with a Cadillac race car on the front. How nice that is. But yeah, you can see all the different year vehicles that they make products for. They don't only deal with throttle controllers, but they also make paddle shifters, stuff like that. Of course, our vehicle is a 2013 Cadillac CTS V. And it's got the 6.2 supercharged V8. Find my vehicle. We can see what other products they make. But you can see they have it here, 179 bucks. This is the product. And then let's go to their how to install. And this is the installation guide that I received inside the box. You don't only have to go to the website there, and it walks you through basically a very simple instruction with how to install it, as well as how to calibrate it. Now, I could not figure out what this yellow and blue wire was about. There's no feature that I know of to have a launch control option, so just ignore that. But otherwise, this is basically how to install it.
All right, got the keys, let's get going. I'm still getting used to this whole gimbal thing. So far it seems to be working pretty darn good. I actually at first put the camera on backwards, which is always fun. So let's see how it works on the staircase. Just one thing, don't mind the garage. Hopefully this coming spring, we're going to be finishing it up. Maybe give it a paint job. I don't know what the heck we're going to do with it. Maybe some wall units. There's going to be a vlog of that coming up once we get started. But there she is. All right, let's do a cold start. Oh yeah. Ooh. It's funny because when this thing is running inside the garage, some of the fixtures on the walls inside the house start vibrating. Love it. All right guys, so we're inside the CTS V, and right now this is the Vitesse module itself. The Vitesse module, it's pretty small, it's very compact. I really like it. It also, because it's small and compact, it opens up a lot of areas that you could actually install the darn thing. It's not really taking up too much room. It does have this nice scroll wheel here that you could go between the different modes. Now when you're in sport mode, or you're going to see it says SP8, I typically drive it on SP7. Let's put that back that way. I'm trying to do this with my left hand. Oh man. So when you're driving it in SP whatever mode, those are basically sport modes. And then if you click in the circle wheel, puts you in eco mode. In the eco mode, let's see how many modes we have. I never actually use it. We have 7 modes there. We have 9 modes in sport mode. So eco mode, eco 7 is the most eco mode you could actually go. What that's designed to do, and kind of helps with these sportier cars like Camaros, CTS Vs, Corvettes, stuff like that. What it actually does is it creates a downward curve or a bell curve in your throttle response to help you in rainy or snowy conditions, so that way you're not spinning the tires as much. Put it in sport mode, it's the exact opposite. It makes it a lot more engaging. The throttle input is more linear if you go to 7, and when you go upwards of the amount of 9, the throttle input actually feels like it's coming on sooner, where the car feels very angry and on edge. So we're going to drive around a little bit. I'm going to show you the different modes, and the nice thing about this is once you install it, it's not actually going to permanently alter anything. You just plug it into where your throttle port is. You basically plug it in line, and if you put it on SP0, you can see it right there, that's basically the stock setting. So whatever your car did stock, you could actually put it back on that. Or you could always just tune it back to SP0 every once in a while if you want to reminisce how crappy your throttle response was when you first purchased your vehicle. So why did I actually go about trying to get a throttle controller for my vehicle? It's a CTS V. It's got a 556 horsepower engine, blah, 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 V8, low-end torque, America. Well, the fact is, the vehicle out of the factory is tuned for a wide range of audiences, just like any other vehicle. This one just so happens to be a little bit of an older community, I guess you can say, tend to buy Cadillacs. So the throttle input, although when you get on it all the way, you're going to get 100% no matter what, but the throttle input seems to be more on the lazy side. And you don't notice it until you drive other vehicles, until you drive like the Alfa Romeo Quadrifoglio, or if you drive the new Camaro SS's or anything like that. Those cars, they just feel like they're on their toes. The throttle input seems to be very fast, and it almost makes you think that the car is faster. And I was thinking, why? And I spoke to a few of my friends, and one of them, Phantom, actually, who's a regular on this channel, he suggested that I look at this throttle controller because we own their paddle shifters. These are the Vitesse paddle shifters, but I forgot that they actually make a throttle controller. So we reached out to them. They sent us over the throttle controller. They gave it a shot. And I gotta say, that liveliness, that on the toes driving experience that you get from those other vehicles is now brought to this vehicle. This vehicle, with just a little bit of throttle input, feels like it just wants to go now. Whereas before, you had to give it quite a few inches of throw before the car felt like it wanted to go. And being that it actually leaves a lot of the throttle response towards the last little bit of the pedal, it almost makes the car feel sluggish or a little lazy. It makes the car also feel a little heavy because you almost feel like you always gotta like completely flog the car to get anything out of it. And that's not the feeling I really wanted. I wanted something to feel a little bit lighter, a little bit more on its toes. And that has actually brought it to me without me having to go and tune my vehicle, void my manufacturer's warranty on my powertrain, just through this little simple device. And that is awesome. All right, so I've had this Vitesse throttle controller on for about, I'd say 3 or 4 months now, around about. I basically posted the unboxing video as soon as I received it. But the Vitesse throttle controller hasn't had a hiccup once. It's worked every single time. I haven't had an issue where it didn't turn on or anything like that. It turns on with the accessory power of the vehicle, and there's no on or off switch. Once you plug it in, when you turn your key on, when your throttle would actually receive power from your car is basically when it starts working, which is perfect. That's when you actually want it to work, is when your car is on. And I like the fact that it's simple, where there's no on or off switch, where you got to reach for things. So that way you could install it somewhere, have it hidden, and never even think of it again. Or if you want, like I do, I always seem to, I don't know, mess with the settings back and forth. But I always seem to come back to Sport 7, just like a lot of people tend to do. Now, I've spoken to many people on both Camaro and Corvette forums and that actually run this throttle controller, and they all seem to say between level 6 and 8 with all these different cars seems to be the sweet spot. It almost seems to be the most linear feeling. Now, if you really want a sport feeling, you could put it on level 9, and the throttle response is pretty immediate. Within the first quarter of a pedal, you're getting a good chunk of your throttle response. So the car just feels like it's always on its toes, and it always feels like it's rearing to go. If you put it back on 7, like I said, it feels like you have a cable going to a carburetor almost. So we're kind of on a backcountry road. We're not going to be breaking any laws here or speeding or anything. I just want to show you kind of an objective view of what I'm feeling. So right now we have it on the stock setting, SP0. I don't know if you could even see that. So we're in second gear right now, and we're at 1500 RPMs, and I'm going to give it half throttle, kind of like passing power. And you can hear the RPMs. All right, so we now have it in SP9. I'm not exactly sure if you could see that, but that is the max sport setting as we discovered before. We're gonna do the exact same thing, second gear, starting at 1500 RPMs, and I'm gonna give it what I feel to be half throttle. Oh, baby. Hopefully you can kind of get an idea as to the differences of what it actually does. Yeah. So that brings me to my next point, and that's one thing they kind of advertise is that your car will be faster, you'll have better fuel economy. I have not observed better fuel economy. I still get 11 miles per gallon in my CTS V. But the one thing I can say is the car does feel faster, and I think it's only because the throttle comes on sooner and the car feels like it's more light on its feet and eager to go. That's the only reason why the car feels faster. It doesn't actually make your car faster. You're not modding the drivetrain, you're not modding the ECU, you're just changing the curve of throttle response in your pedal, as if, well, your pedal is basically a potentiometer, the amount of input you give, the amount of voltage output it gives. So you're just changing that curve as to how much input you're giving is how much voltage it's giving out or signal it's giving out to the computer. And so you're not altering anything. So I hope I'm very clear there, because I don't want to misconstrue anything. You're not increasing power output in your vehicle. Being that the pedal is basically a potentiometer, you have access to more of your power over a larger area. So that means you can modulate your pedal a little bit more accurately than just the last half inch giving you almost all of the power that the car has. So now that you're accessing the power sooner in the pedal, you can kind of modulate that a little bit, and that will only help you in every situation. That will make you a little bit more accurate on your pedal inputs and, you know, basically the power that you're getting out of the vehicle.
Alright, so I'm sure you saw in the video that when I put it on level 9 from stock and we gave it a half throttle input, that there was a big output. We got pinned in the seat, the car became lively and everything like that. Now I'm going to graphically show you what's going on. So you can see here the blue line is the stock throttle output and the red line is the level 9, the max output you can go. Now I'm getting this reading from the throttle controller itself. It does have a digital readout that if you're not changing the settings when you're depressing the accelerator, it shows you a percentage increase. Now it shows you that percentage increase in 5% increments, and we measured this through our 3-inch pedal throw that we have with our CTS V. The pedal was actually measured with a tape measure on the bottom left corner of the pedal. Measured it just about 3 inches all the way from top position to the full bottom position. In every half-inch increment, we took the reading, and this is what we got. So you can see in the stock, it is pretty linear. There is a dip in the center, and that is felt in the pedal. Although the line is linear, that does not mean that the signal that's being output from the ECU is linear. Depending on how the car is calibrated to handle that signal is depending on what output you get. This does not feel as linear as it looks, although that dip is felt in the car. Now, when you put it on level 9, you can see that there's a huge spike in signal from the pedal being completely let go all the way to 1 inch of pedal throw. We get all the way up to, I think it's 65% of the entire signal is in that first inch. So you definitely notice that the car feels very touchy, and then it slowly plateaus off until you get to 100% full action. So everywhere in between there is what you're going to experience with every other setting, but I felt that this would graphically kind of show you what's going on and kind of let you see exactly what this device is doing. This brings me to my first con. You can see with the website up there, we still have the installation guide up. Well, it is a very simple installation. You just basically unplug your your throttle pedal, and you basically plug this in line. It's very self-explanatory, but there is a little plastic retainer clip that fits into that plug. This kind of addresses that there, but for the money and the amount of throttle controllers that they make, I would have hoped by now that we would have more of a personalized installation guide depending on the vehicle that you're purchasing this product for. Something at least with pictures that will show you exactly where the plug is for your throttle pedal. Some cars, depending on the car itself, underneath the dash you do have a lot more wires in the way. Like my vehicle, there's a lot of wires in the way, and I could not see all the way up to where that wire was that I had to unplug unless I got completely underneath the dash and was looking up. So I had to basically resort to looking on forums and looking on YouTube videos until someone actually had a video that showed exactly where that plug was that I had to unplug. And then I also had to go through forums and videos to basically figure out how to get that plastic retainer clip out without breaking it. Once you actually know what you're doing and where the plug is and how to remove it, it only takes maybe 2 minutes to do so. But I wish that the installation guide for some of us that maybe don't know exactly where that plug is would actually show a little bit more detail and some pictures depending on the vehicle. Do I recommend this product? I really do. Now, if you are tuned, if you do have a tuner on your vehicle, or if you're working with a tuner, this is not really an item that you necessarily need. Unless your tuner is not really going to augment your throttle input, but most of the time they do. And if you want your car to be a little bit more sensitive on its throttle input, you could really just consult your tuner and they should be able to do it. It is kind of pricey, every time you want your tuner to redo things, you can just put something like this in the way of your throttle pedal and you could just adjust it on the fly. But and you do have your eco settings, but this is really not necessary for anyone that's going to be tuning necessarily. But if you're stock and you kind of want your car to feel a lot more lively and you could pretty much see what happened to our vehicle after we installed it, I definitely recommend it. I am not removing this from my vehicle. I kind of like the ability to be able to adjust what type of feel I want. Now, there is no sort of valet mode or anything like that. I do kind of like the eco settings, and maybe if I do tune in the future, that would make the car a little bit more drivable in winter and wet weather. But overall, I love this product. I loved how it changed my vehicle. We don't necessarily have to tune right now. I love how my vehicle feels. All we have mod wise is a cold air intake and a catback exhaust. So we're not really actually changing anything power wise in the vehicle itself. And really my car feels the way I wanted it to. I'm not bored with it anymore. It does feel like it's really light on its feet. And judging by the resounding sort of fans that they have, especially I've seen more in the Camaro sort of side of things than anything, some in the Corvette, I would say if you're thinking about it, just pick it up and try it, because it's definitely worth the money that they're charging. Again, I'm Crash, this is RTA Motorsports. Thank you so much for watching this video. It's a little bit differently than what we normally do, but we're going to get into more product reviews this coming year, so definitely stay tuned. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Hopefully this video was informative, but if you have any additional questions, please leave them in the comment box below. I'll do my best to answer them in a timely fashion. So as usual, have a great day. See you all next time.